Greetings and welcome to my first video series, Learning Godot. I've decided to start this series to see how much progress I can make on something I'm passionate about, as well as holding myself to my own words about learning something new. And in the process, I will leave all the trails I've taken to help guide others who want to take a similar path in the future. This is not a tutorial series. I will not explain anything in too much detail unless it happens to be a problem I had to spend a lot of time on. What I will do is to link all the resources I found helpful when I'm learning and creating. And to be fair, I am also doing this in a part-time. I do have a full-time job, so this will likely be a weekly series, not longer. Now, first day of doing Godot, quite fun. Basically, all I'm doing is to follow the GD Quest tutorials and give the basic understanding of what exactly this program does. And as always, I will play around with all the variables and all the parameters to see what exactly it affects the outcome. As you can see in the background, currently random things are happening. I've been playing around with rotations and movement to slowly approach my first ever controllable object. After playing around with the Godot engine for a little bit, I was able to create a controllable car-like object. Following the GD Quest tutorials, it wasn't too hard of a thing to do. Of course, after this, I have to start branching out. Like always, to learn something, you really have to play around with it to understand what exactly you're doing, not just copying tutorials. Since my plan is to make some sort of an isometric roguelike similar to Hades or Binding of Isaac, I will try to make a movement system that looks similar to that. Okay, let's see what we have here. More or less works. Direction not exactly there. Let's see if we can fix that problem, and boom, well done. And what is a good roguelike without a dodge system? Let's see if we can create a dodge system. Okay, so what I want to do is when I press space, the character will start rolling, spinning in this case since I don't have any animation assets, and then it will leap forward a certain distance. Let's see if we can make that happen. Alright, I swear I'm smashing space right now and nothing's happening. One more time. Close enough. Alright. Alright! I totally did not cut out an hour of debugging, but what we got is what we want. Isn't that a great feeling when coding? For the second day, I started following the GD Quest tutorial of learning how to use signals. It's a pretty simple demonstration of how a character can take contact damage through an enemy and then reflect that change onto a health bar. Of course, the demonstration itself was pretty simple to follow. After that, I started to do a little extra branching out. Since I already implemented dodge movement into my control or my character, it is quite simple to start thinking, well, what does dodge have? Iframes. For game devs, this will be a pretty simple concept. If you're not a game dev, well, first of all, thank you for watching this video. Alright, now to incorporate iframe into my dodge. My thought is simple. On the on damage or take damage function, every time it is called, I'll add an extra parameter to see if my character is in dodge or in an invincible frame. In that case, I will just not call the damage function, or simple enough. Alright, this is a surprising amount of work to do to just get to a simple movement and a rolling contact damage with some iframes involved. That really tells me game dev isn't as simple as I imagined at first, but you know, we're still making progress. Only second day. Third day, we're following another GD Quest tutorial to start doing a full 2D game. What this does is to create kind of a dodge game, but you know, we're branching off. We're trying to be creative, so we're not doing just a dodge game. We are slowly adding more things into the game. as I was saying. Well, let's see. Obviously, as a game, you first have to deal with monster spawning mechanics as well as animations. Let's first get the spawning done. What we have here is, well, I don't think it would be that complicated. There's pathing, there's time clock, actually that's about it. At first I thought it would be very complicated to have some monster spawn, but since we're just doing some very simple monster mechanics, all we're doing is drawing a path around the area, kind of pick a random point in these spawning path, and direct the monsters appropriately with that spawning point. And after that, they just go straight and wander around across the screen until they disappear. All right, simple enough to implement. Well done. Now all we have to do is add a little bit of HUD and a little bit of a game loop to complete the game so that this game can actually be played. And there we have it. Absolutely fantastic. Then I did a little bit of optimization, change a little bit about timers, and change a little bit about how I can delete instances and nodes during runtime, and the game is looking like it's coming together. Then I thought, well, isn't scoring system based on time survived a little strange? Especially when, I actually added dodge functions compared to the original game. There's a lot less incentive to just run around and dodge. There's actually more fun to be done if we utilize that dodge system. So I changed the scoring system into the dodge kill, where on dodge, if I actually row through the enemy, they get killed, right? Instead of waiting around for the timer to tick up. This sounds like a much more engaging gameplay. Of course, this is just a beginning tutorial, nothing too fancy about it. Let's see if we can get that done. Absolutely fantastic. I could start seeing this becoming an actual game. But obviously it is still very bare bones. Let's see if we can add some more to it. In the meantime, let's try to understand a little bit more about what exactly this game engine is doing. In the meantime, I optimized a lot of code in the background, as well as added some custom animation. Let's see if that would look better. And it sure is better. Oh, would you look at those rats? Aren't they cute? Alright, let's quickly do another export. Let's see if we can add something more to it. This time, how about lasers? Yes, cat shoot lasers, right? I mean, obviously, that's what you think about when you think about cats. And since I decided to make my isometric roguelike some sort of a shooter, we'll do a little mouse following. Easy enough to implement. Just get the mouse position, calculate the rotation between the character and the mouse, and set the character to face it. So far, not bad, but I think I can polish this a little more. What do we need in this game? Background, no, sound effects. It's sound effects. So I spent 5 minutes going into Audacity, recording some custom sound effects, adding a little bit of audio player notes into the scene, and boom! There we have it. Alright, that's it for this video. Thank you guys for watching, and stick around, I'll see you next time.